What happens when two powerhouse voices collide in the most uncomfortable television moment of the year? What you're about to witness is the exact moment everything went wrong between Teddy Swims and Kelly Clarkson, leading to one of the most shocking walk-offs in daytime television history. Make sure you subscribe and drop a comment, because this story gets more intense with every word. The studio lights were blazing as Kelly Clarkson settled into her signature chair, her million-dollar smile firmly in place as she prepared to welcome her next guest. Across from her, Teddy Swims adjusted his position on the plush interview couch, his tattooed hands fidgeting slightly with a microphone clipped to his shirt. The audience was buzzing with excitement, completely unaware that they were about to witness television history in the making. "So, Teddy," Kelly began, her voice carrying that familiar warmth that had made her a beloved talk show host, "your rise to fame has been absolutely incredible. From posting covers in your bedroom to selling out arenas, it's like a fairy tale come true." Teddy's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, though his smile remained intact. "Well, Kelly, I appreciate that, but I wouldn't exactly call it a fairy tale. There's been a lot of hard work, a lot of rejection, and a lot of people who didn't believe in what I was doing." "Oh, absolutely," Kelly nodded enthusiastically. "But that's what makes it so inspiring. You went from being this unknown guy to having millions of views almost overnight. It must feel amazing to finally get the recognition you deserve." The word finally seemed to hang in the air like a loaded weapon. Teddy's smile faltered for just a moment before he composed himself. "I mean, I've been doing this for over a decade, Kelly. It wasn't overnight. And it wasn't about getting recognition I deserved. It was about staying true to my art, regardless of whether anyone was paying attention." Kelly laughed lightly. "But there was something forced about it, right? Of course. But you have to admit, social media really changed everything for you. Without platforms like TikTok and Instagram, would we even know who Teddy Swims is?" The question hit like a slap. Teddy's posture straightened, and for the first time since the interview began, his polished media facade cracked. "Are you suggesting that my success is just because of social media algorithms?" No, not at all." Kelly backtracked quickly, though her tone suggested otherwise. "I'm just saying that social media gave you a platform that maybe traditional routes didn't. I mean, let's be honest. The music industry can be pretty tough for artists who don't fit the typical mold." "What mold would that be exactly?" Teddy asked, his voice dropping to a lower register warning sign to anyone who knew him. Kelly seemed oblivious. "You know, the whole tattooed, bearded, soulful guy thing. It's very trendy right now. Very authentic feeling, even if it's carefully crafted for social media consumption." The audience shifted uneasily. The easy banter of a Kelly Clarkson interview had given way to an icy silence. Even the camera operators seemed tense behind their equipment. "Carefully crafted," Kelly repeated, his voice barely above a whisper, but heavy with meaning. "Kelly, these tattoos aren't a marketing strategy. This beard isn't a brand choice. This is who I am, and I've been who I am long before anyone gave a damn about authenticity." Kelly's smile tightened. She glanced quickly at her producers offstage. "Of course, Teddy. I didn't mean to imply otherwise. I think what our viewers would love to know is how you maintain that authentic connection with your fans while managing the pressures of sudden fame." Sudden fame. Teddy shook his head slowly. "You keep using words like that, like I just appeared out of thin air with a guitar and a dream. Do you have any idea how many dive bars I played to audiences of 5 people? How many times I was told my voice was too soulful for country, too R&B for rock?" "I'm sure it was challenging," Kelly said carefully, her tone suggesting she was ready to steer things to safer ground. "Speaking of your voice, let's talk about your latest album. The production is so polished compared to those early bedroom recordings. It must be nice working with a real team of professionals." That was the breaking point. Teddy's eyes flashed with something dangerous, and the temperature in the studio seemed to drop. A real team of professionals as opposed to what, Kelly? The fake amateurs I was working with before. Kelly realized too late she had stepped into quicksand. I just meant that having access to proper studios and experienced producers must have elevated your sound significantly. There's nothing wrong with getting help to reach your full potential. Help to reach my full potential. Teddy repeated, his voice dripping with frustration. Let me ask you something, Kelly. When you won American Idol, did people tell you that Simon Cowell and the production team helped you reach your full potential, or did they recognize that the talent was already there? The comparison caught Kelly off guard. For the first time, she looked genuinely flustered. That's different, Teddy. American Idol is a competition show. It's designed to find and showcase existing talent. And what do you think I was doing in those dive bars and bedroom recordings, playing hide and seek? Teddy's voice was rising now, and the studio audience was shifting uncomfortably in their seats. I was showcasing my talent to anyone who had listened for years before any algorithm, producer, or fairy tale moment you want to romanticize. Kelly's media training kicked in, and she scrambled to regain control of the interview. Teddy, I think there's a misunderstanding, Kelly began, her voice softer now, almost pleading. I have nothing but respect for your journey and your talent. Maybe we just got off on the wrong foot. But Teddy wasn't buying it. His eyes narrowed, his tone steady but laced with fire. No, Kelly, I think we got off on exactly the foot you intended. You brought me here to package my life into some feel-good segment about social media and polish without ever bothering to understand what my story actually is. The air in the studio tightened. Camera operators froze between conflicting signals. From producers, audience members exchanged nervous glances, sensing they were witnessing television history in real time. Kelly's practiced smile faltered. For the first time in her hosting career, she looked rattled. I think what our audience would really benefit from, she tried, her voice shaking slightly, is hearing about your creative process, how you choose the songs you record. Teddy let out a short, humorless laugh. My creative process. My creative process is taking every rejection, every dismissal. Every time someone looked at me and decided I didn't fit their idea of a musician and turning it into something beautiful. My process is authenticity in a world desperate to sell you a version of it. Kelly's face flushed, her composure slipping. Teddy, I understand you're passionate, but I think you're misinterpreting my questions. Am I? Teddy leaned forward, locking eyes with her. Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like you think my success is a mix of lucky timing, algorithms, and industry intervention. It sounds like you can't quite believe that someone like me, with my background, could actually have something real to offer. The audience was silent, phones discreetly raised, capturing every second. The show had stopped being an interview. It was now a standoff. Kelly's mask cracked, her tone hardened. Teddy, I think you're being unfair. I've interviewed hundreds of artists, and I've always been supportive of different paths to success. Supportive. Teddy shot back, incredulous. In the last 10 minutes, you've implied my success is accidental. My authenticity is manufactured. My early work was amateur, and my talent needed professional intervention to be worthwhile. If that's support, I'd hate to see hostile. Wave of gasps rippled through the audience. Producers gestured frantically from off-camera, but neither Kelly nor Teddy broke focus. Kelly's patience snapped. I'm trying to have a conversation about your career. Teddy, if you take every question as an attack, maybe you're not ready for this level of media attention. The words detonated. The room shook with the weight of them. Teddy rose slowly from the couch, towering over the set. His voice dropped to a dangerous calm. Not ready. Kelly, I've been grinding for years, playing to 5 people in dive bars. singing my heart out with nothing but faith to keep me going. I didn't need this spotlight to validate me. And I sure as hell don't need you telling me what I'm ready for. Kelly stayed seated, but her eyes flashed. I think artists who want to succeed at this level need to handle tough questions without falling apart. Tough questions. Teddy barked a bitter laugh. Tough questions are about music, about art, about why I write what I write. What you've been doing is trying to rewrite my story to fit your narrative. And maybe it bothers you that I didn't need a TV show or an industry gatekeeper to get here. Kelly shot to her feet, her voice rising. People like me. What's that supposed to mean? It means people who think success has to come through the right system. People who can't see talent unless it comes with their stamp of approval. The studio crackled with tension. Audience members shifted uneasily. Some leaned forward, others looked ready to bolt. Even the band was rigid, instruments untouched. Kelly's voice finally broke, her professionalism shredded. You know what, Teddy? I've been doing this show for years. I've supported every kind of artist that sat in that chair. But I won't sit here and be accused of trying to tear you down. Teddy shook his head, jaw tight, his hands trembling with restrained fury. And I won't sit here and let you diminish everything I've built. Not today. And with that, Teddy dropped his mic pack onto the couch. The thud echoed through the silent studio as he walked off set, leaving Kelly standing alone under the blazing lights. Her smile finally gone. I've made artists feel welcome. I've celebrated their success. I've given them a platform to share their stories. If you can't appreciate that, Kelly said, her voice brittle, maybe the problem isn't with my questions. Teddy stopped pacing. He turned to face her directly, his stare cutting through the tension. Make artists feel welcome. Kelly, you've spent this entire interview trying to convince me and everyone watching that my success is illegitimate, that my authenticity is fake, that my talent only matters once it's been polished by professionals. If that's your idea of welcoming, I'd hate to see what being your enemy looks like. Kelly shot to her feet, finally dropping the veneer of control. You're putting words in my mouth, Teddy. I never said any of that. You didn't have to say it outright, Teddy snapped. Every question has been loaded. Every comment has chipped away at me, my legitimacy, at my journey. You've treated me like an outsider who doesn't belong. That's paranoid and ridiculous. Kelly's voice rang sharp, echoing through the studio. I ask every artist similar questions about their journey and their process. Do you? Teddy's eyes blazed. Do you ask Taylor Swift if her success is just algorithms? Do you ask John Legend if his early work was too amateur before producers stepped in? Do you ever suggest your mainstream guests aren't ready for media attention when they push back? Kelly opened her mouth, closed it again, then forced out. That's not a fair comparison, and you know it. Why isn't it fair? Teddy pressed, stepping forward. Because they look like your idea of a successful artist. Because their path fits the story you understand, mine doesn't. Producers waved frantically behind the cameras, but the two of them were locked in, neither willing to yield. The audience sat in stunned silence, watching daytime television unravel before their eyes. Kelly's hands trembled as she pointed toward him. You're being incredibly unprofessional. This was supposed to be a celebration of your success. An attack on my integrity as a host. Unprofessional. Teddy's voice dropped to a growl. Kelly, you've spent 20 minutes undermining my career, my authenticity, my readiness for this moment, and I'm the one being unprofessional. I haven't attacked you, Kelly insisted, but her voice cracked. I've asked legitimate questions. Legitimate questions. Teddy's voice rose, each word striking like a drumbeat. Like whether I'm just a social media product. Like whether my music only matters once a producer touches it. Like, Whether I'm ready for success, those aren't legitimate questions. They're attempts to discredit me. Kelly's face flushed red, caught between embarrassment and fury. You're twisting everything I've said. Am I? Teddy turned, gesturing toward the audience. Heads nodded in agreement. Phones were raised, cameras rolling, because I think everyone in this room heard exactly what you said. How you said it. Kelly's eyes darted across the studio, searching for support. But her own crew avoided her gaze. The band sat frozen, instruments idle. Even the producers looked like they wanted distance from the implosion. This is my show. Teddy, Kelly said finally, her voice clipped and cold. I've been nothing but supportive. If you can't see that, maybe you should reconsider whether you want to be here. The ultimatum fell heavy in the room. Teddy stared at her, his chest rising and falling in controlled breaths. The silence was suffocating. You know what, Kelly? He said at last, his voice eerily calm. Maybe I should reconsider. Her eyes widened. Teddy, don't be dramatic. We can work through this. Work through what? Teddy asked, unhooking his microphone with deliberate precision. Your refusal to respect what I've built? Your need to tear down my story so it fits your comfortable narrative. There's nothing to work through. Please. Kelly's voice broke, desperate now. You're misunderstanding me? I brought you here because I believe in your talent. Teddy paused mid-motion, then looked at her with something closer to pity than anger. No, you brought me here because I'm trending. Because booking me gets you views and clicks. Don't confuse that with believing in my talent. That's not true, Kelly protested. But even she didn't sound convinced. My story? Teddy's laugh was hollow. You haven't asked me a single thing about my real story. Not about the music that saved my life. Not about the fans who believed in me before anyone else. Not about the struggles that shaped every song I've written. Instead, you've tried to shrink what I've built into something small enough to fit your script. The audience was transfixed, phones raised, breath held. The band looked on like they were watching a natural disaster unfold. Kelly's voice cracked under the weight of it all. I don't understand why you're being so hostile. I've always supported artists from all backgrounds. Teddy's voice cut sharp as glass. You've made it crystal clear you don't see mine as legitimate. Every word out of your mouth has been an attempt to explain away my success, and you want to call that support? I never said your background wasn't legitimate, Kelly shot back, but even as she said it, the weakness in her tone betrayed her. You didn't have to say it. Teddy replied, finally tugging the mic free from his shirt. His voice was low, deliberate. When you suggest social media is the only reason people know me, you're saying my music isn't strong enough to stand on its own. When you imply my early work needed polish to be worthwhile, you're saying I wasn't talented enough without help. And when you question whether I'm ready for this stage, he paused. His eyes locked on hers. You're saying I don't belong here at all. Kelly's eyes darted toward the crew, searching for backup. But the control room was paralyzed. No one moved. Teddy, she said carefully, I think you're reading too much into some casual interview questions. Casual. Teddy's laugh cracked like glass. There was nothing casual about this. Every question was loaded. Every comment was designed to cut. This hasn't been an interview, it's been an interrogation. The studio went dead silent. Even the audience stopped breathing. Kelly's jaw tightened. Her face shifted through emotions before she finally snapped. You know what, Teddy? Maybe this reaction is exactly why some people in the industry hesitate to work with you. Maybe this attitude is why you had to build your career outside the traditional system. The words landed like a thunderclap. The audience gasped. Camera. Operators flinched. Teddy froze, his entire body going still. His voice, when it came, was barely above a whisper, but sharp enough to cut the air in two. There it is. The real Kelly Clarkson. Not the supportive host. Not the champion of artists. Just another gatekeeper who thinks pushing back makes me. The problem? Kelly paled, realizing instantly she had gone too far. Teddy, I didn't mean yes. You did? His voice was ice. You meant exactly what you said. Because I won't let you rewrite my story, you think my attitude is the issue. Because I refuse to smile and play along, you think I'm proving the critics right? The room was suffocating now. Every eye locked on the two of them. Kelly looked small in her chair. Teddy raised the mic in his hand, staring at it like something contaminated. You know what stings the most, Kelly? I actually respected you. I thought you'd understand. You came from a competition show. You know what it is? Feels like to have people question your worth. But you're just another insider, blinded by your own narrow idea of legitimacy. Teddy, please. Kelly's voice cracked, breaking under the weight of her own unraveling composure. I made mistakes in this interview. Let me fix this. Teddy shook his head slowly, almost sadly. You can't unmake the last half. You can't unsay what you said, or unthink what made you say it. This has shown me exactly who you are. He set the mic on the side table, placing it down with deliberate care, as if it might shatter. I came here expecting a conversation with someone who understood struggle. Instead, I got ambushed by someone who thinks my authenticity is a marketing ploy and my success a fluke. Kelly was desperate now, her media polish gone. Teddy, I swear, that's not what I believe. Please don't leave like this. Teddy looked at her for a long moment. His anger cooled into something heavier, almost sorrowful. The tragedy isn't that you think this about me. The tragedy is that you probably think this about countless artists who don't fit your mold. How many others have sat in this chair, silenced by politeness, while you diminished what they built? This has never happened before, Kelly whispered, pleading. Maybe not, Teddy said, rising from the couch. But maybe that's because others were too afraid to call it out. He turned to the audience, their phones raised, their faces stunned. I'm sorry you had to see this. But sometimes standing up for yourself matters more than being polite. Teddy. Kelly tried one last time, her voice breaking. You're throwing away a huge opportunity. This show reaches millions. Teddy paused at the studio exit, turned back once. His words were final, devastating. I'd rather reach nobody than reach millions through someone who doesn't respect what I've built. My music doesn't need your validation. And then he was gone.